All right. The agenda for tonight, we have 1.5 items, agenda items. So Grant Norwood is going to be talking to us about something called remixaustin.com, which I'm super excited about. And that's really going to be the theme of tonight because unfortunately, John was not able to make it. John has been, he didn't reach out to me actually. Jacob Eby on the Remix team reached out to me and said, hey, there's this guy down in Houston who's been building cardbingo.com with Remix, super cool. So I was really excited to have him, but then he got the flu. Apparently that's still around. Who knew? No, I'm just kidding. He got that last night, unfortunately. So very much hope he's doing all right and feels better soon. But he wants to speak hopefully next month if he can. So we're going to reserve that for another time. So really, it's just going to be Grant. I got a couple more slides that I'll go through real quick. Just some announcements. We'll get ahead of time. Remix conference. If you're not aware of this, the European conference is tomorrow. You may be thinking, well, I'm not going to be able to get to Europe in that amount of time. Well, good for you. It's online completely. Don't ask why it's called Remix Europe Conference. That's just because I don't know. It's online anyway, and you still can get a ticket. I think it's like 80 pounds, which don't ask me to do the conversion. It's probably around 80-ish bucks would be my guess. If I remember how much pounds to bucks are, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's like, I think for our time zone, it's pretty much all day tomorrow morning. That's not all day. Sorry, it's all tomorrow morning. So from like 9 to like 1, I think. So anyway, it'll be cool. There's a lot of good talks, a lot of great speakers going to be on there. I think Kent is kicking things off. A couple like fireside chats with certain Remix members, such as like Michael Jackson or Ryan Florence. I can't remember exactly. So it should be cool. Yeah, and if you don't watch it, it'll be on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. So you can always watch the ones that you wanted to see later on. So that'll be cool. Yeah, if you want to give a talk, I'm not going to run through all these, but if you do want to give a talk, always talk to me. There is like a sign up sheet on the Meetup group as well. I think I included the question in there. Hopefully y'all saw it. Like if you do also want to give a talk, I put it in there. So yeah, we're always looking for people to speak. I'm always trying to get people set up so that if we have people fall through, we always have backups, that kind of stuff. And then finally, I've had this slide up actually a few weeks in a row, but animation, yes. Oh, that's so janky. Yeah. Oh well. We are building a website, and that's what Grant's going to talk about. So I'm not gonna ruin the surprise. I'm just gonna let Grant start talking about it whenever he's ready.
I'm gonna start with the finished product.
Nice.
It's not finished, but it is deployed and it does exist. So remixaustin.com. Believe it or not, I used Remix to actually make this. I'm gonna basically just walk a little bit how I did that because, to be honest, I'm a manager now. I don't write a lot of code. I followed the tutorial and figured a lot of the folks in the room or on the call are going to do the same thing. And so I kind of wanted to just walk a little bit through how we got there and some of the other choices I made as we got it hosted and deployed and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, I started with one of the indie stacks. And so you guys have probably seen this before in the Remix run repo or organization anyway. We've got a handful of templates we could start with. There's like a blog tutorial. There's like a jokes app. There's a number of different stacks anyway that you can choose from. And so I chose this one. And let me show you kind of just what's in the stack. Let me see if I can pop our font size up just a tad. So this one uses Docker, which is a requirement for deploying to fly.io, and I'll go over that. It includes SQLite as a database. I deleted that because we don't need a database for very first landing page. Some health checks. We use GitHub Actions to do deploys when we merge into either production or staging environments. So in our repo, that's our main branch. And I am also going to show you guys where that repo is. So if you haven't already seen the Remix-Austin team or organization on GitHub, that's where we're at. And then we've got a grand total of 1 repo with 15 commits. So we're well on our way 6 days ago, right? And what's actually kind of neat is you can already see there's a couple of different folks that are already committing. I think we have like 3 different committers already. Yeah. Seth's here, Brooks is here. So this is where you're also going to go to, check out the latest code. We'll have some docs in here. We'll come back to this in just a little bit. Else in the template includes things like authentication. I deleted all of that. Database RM, I deleted all of that. And then we do use Tailwind for styling. In fact, I'll go into some of the other choices I made for styling to start with here. Nothing that can't be undone, by the way. This is literally just like get a first landing page up so the community has something to work on and it gets deployed. There is end-to-end testing with Cypress. It is disabled. There is one screen with a couple of static content elements, so not much to test. And then you can see some of the other, testing stuff, Prettier, ESLint. And yes, we are using TypeScript. And so you kind of see with the quick start, you can see what else you can get with the command that we actually run is this mpx create remix at latest, and we tell it what template to run. And then it's going to walk us through some prompts. So I've done a little bit of this for us. So you can kind of see how I ran this up here. And just to get this IndyStack example going, I'm going to walk you through kind of what it leaves us with when we run this. And then I'm going to flip over to the actual remixaustin.com and show you where I removed a whole bunch of stuff. And the reason I removed a bunch of stuff is because we haven't really made a lot of decisions about where do we want to do our authentication? Because we'll have dynamic content. By the way, where does that content live? We might use a CMS. We might do something ourselves. We might throw a bunch of markdown files in here and just deploy every time. That's not too unheard of. But we really haven't made a lot of those decisions yet. And that's stuff we're going to do as a community. So I just removed the confusion by removing or disabling a bunch of stuff. You can see when I run that initial create remix command, it's going to ask me TypeScript or not TypeScript, the obvious choice there. And then it's going to run npm install for me. And you'll see it does a bunch of other stuff in here. It's actually going to run the remix init script that was referred to on the IndyStack's documentation on the repo. It's going to run some Prisma commands and actually seed a database for me with some users and notes and things like that. We're going to go back and delete all that. And then we're good. We're ready to rock and roll. So after that, cd into the directory, run npm, run dev, and we're good to go. Assuming I don't have another server already running somewhere, which is a possibility.
Should auto add one, even if you were.
Oh, yeah. All right, so that's what you get when you run the template. You can see I've replaced a whole bunch of stuff over here, although I did leave the icon since this is a remix Meetup. I left that favicon there, and of course I used the CD because why not? And then let's talk a little bit about what's actually in here when we scaffold this. So as you'll see, there's everything in the app folder from some data models. This is for Prisma to be able to use. You can see that there's actually some types that are being exported once they get generated by the Prisma client. We're going to remove all of this. In fact, I'm not going to do it live, but I am going to walk you through this little README I created as I went through, because in case I ever was going to do a talk on this, I actually wrote all this down while I was writing this or making the site, the original site. So it's halfway documented, and I'll kind of walk you through the steps. So basically, after I went through and installed that IndyStack, I went and deleted a bunch of stuff, right? So we hadn't made a lot of those decisions yet on author content or whatever. So I went and took all of these default routes and I just deleted them. I went into the data models and I just deleted them. There's going to be a pattern here. There's a number of files that actually go and reference some of those data models. So things like in root.tsx, it automatically wants to init a session for us. So again, deleted. There's a number of things in that you have to kind of get rid of to get rid of Prisma and SQLite. You can see there's a db.server file that we got rid of. There's a Prisma directory. That's where a lot of the seed data, where the actual data.db file, a bunch of that stuff got created. And you can see that over here. So there's our seed data. It's pretty neat. You can actually go through and create a bunch of manual, users or content or that kind of thing. Run a script and Prisma will actually insert it into your SQLite data.db file. It's pretty neat, but we're not gonna use it, so I killed it. The next thing I did was basically go through and update some metadata. By the way, I wrote this when I was still planning to just throw a blog out there, and we decided, well, let's talk to the community about how we want to do a blog. So we'll kind of ignore a few of these, but it does show us how we can use meta functions in order to update the page title. So if I float over to remixaustin.com, you can see that here I export a meta function of type meta function and throw it a title. And the neat thing about this is you can basically put this on any of your pages or routes, and it's going to automatically update this. The other neat thing, I think I might have deleted this when I deleted the blog stuff for now. But actually, so when your loader data runs, loader function runs and pulls in data. So let's say it's a blog post or something, and your loader goes and looks at the URL, and it's going to go and say, okay, well, I know what slug to look for in the database, and it pulls down. Well, that probably is like the title of your blog post in it. And that loader function will actually pipe all your loader data into your meta function, which means if I wanted to go and make this dynamic, I absolutely could, because it would get passed as args to the meta function, and you only have to have a single API call, which is pretty neat. As we go and add dynamic content and stuff, you'll see that come here on the website, but something you can play with on your own as well. You monitor chat in case anything is crazy. Awesome.
Is there a plugin for your complexity warning?
Yes. Actually, I'm not sure if this one is coming from, I'm not sure if this one is coming from one of my installed ones, or if this is actually built into VS Code. What's interesting is complexity is 15. Well, it looks pretty simple, right? You don't see any trees, you don't see, if, then, else, etc. But my guess is it's actually digging into those components and trying to evaluate all of that, which sounds a little silly, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
You wrote that message? You must be kidding.
No, this actually comes from, it's either VS Code or one of my many plugins. I don't know which one that's coming from. That's a good question. If you see another cute one, when it's like, yeah, this looks okay. It's pretty fun. They have cute messages in there for, I think it's called cyclomatic complexity, if you want to have a $5 word. Okay, so you'll kind of notice that already. Let's go look at our root and the one that was created. Looks pretty simple. You can tell that they basically have very simple, meta information and, all the links that get populated in the head. And they've got an outlet. That's where your children are are rendered, and then some of the other remix utils like for scroll restoration and live reload and such. And then, of course, what will be most different is if you look in something like index. So we're using Tailwind, which is why we see just a ton of class names all over the place.
Unless you went up to 26.
Oh, bloody hell. We got British in this one. I'm actually a little, well, as the Brits would say, flummoxed by why it would try to evaluate cyclomatic complexity based on simple nested HTML and components. There's nothing conditional in here other than if you look down at the user where it goes to say, hey, is the user currently logged in? You know, show some notes content, otherwise show some sign up or join or whatever. There's really, I don't know where that's coming from.
It's so funny.
Sounds like a bug. Let's go see what I did over here. Spoiler alert, I deleted all that stuff. So pretty simple, actually. So if you're already kind of familiar with how the routes and components and such are done in Remix, you'll notice that obviously the root is what kind of wraps everything. That's where you're going to see our nav bar. There's really nothing too fancy in the nav bar, but this is going to start leading me to some of the other design choices I chose, at least for now. Nothing we can't undo. But simple nav bar. If I go over to the site, nothing too crazy. That's what it looks like on mobile. Again, nothing crazy. Most of this I literally just deleted or blanked out or whatever. So navbar does not come from Tailwind. So here's one of the other things that I chose to do. Let me scroll down in my talk, and I can drop some links in here as well. So I chose to use Tailwind's typography, which is pretty neat. You basically just add a prose class to anything you want all this really nice, pretty typography to inherit. By default, Tailwind is going to kind of reset your styles. And so H1s look like H2, looks like H3, looks like everything else. And so this is a really nice plugin for just really pretty typography, and then you can customize it as much as you like. This also leads into the next design decision, which is around using Daisy UI. So Daisy UI is a library for components for Tailwind, and it's got a ton of them. They're really neat too. Extremely themable. You can switch between light theme, dark theme, any theme you can imagine. You could have an accessibility theme for really like high contrast stuff if you really chose. You could change it per brand. You can do some neat stuff, but it does have all of these, nice little components that work with Tailwind. But it does want you to have that typography, or at least recommends having the typography plugin. So that's why I went with that. Let's see what else is different here. Oh, and just setting up that typography plugin. There's nothing magic about this. This is all in the docs. In your Tailwind config, you're going to go and basically add some plugins for Daisy UI, an npm install, and some more changes to your Tailwind config will do it. So here's a theme that I actually created that's a little bit custom for Remix Austin. What's cool about Daisy UI is if you go over here, they have this theme generator. And so you can go and like randomize and just see, oh, well, that's kind of what I want. And then maybe you go and, pick a color and customize a few things. So I hit randomize about 16 or 18 times and then pick the 2 or 3 colors I wanted to change. And and then probably tweak them again later, but it's pretty neat. I'm really a fan of Daisy UI so far. I haven't really done anything too complex, so Eep, Dragons could be laying somewhere, but at the moment, we're looking pretty good. So now we have a local site. It is running. It is ready to get launched. So one other thing is, so you noticed on the Indie stack where it said that it comes with some configuration for deploying to fly.io. Fly.io is pretty neat, like edge network hosting. I've never played with it before. I don't know if it's where we're going to stay. It was just something new for me to try, and it was in the tutorial for Remix. So it sounded like somebody else, either in this room or on the call or elsewhere, will have already played with that. And if I remember right, it's actually pretty close. I think their closest data center is DFW. Whereas, if you're in AWS, like you're talking to, Virginia or Oregon or something like that. So I tried out. It's pretty neat. It's kind of weird on how they do pricing. I think they have like a weird credit system. I'm normally not into that kind of thing. It reminds me of the old like Shutterstock and other, stock photo type of things that, you buy a bunch of credits, you use 70% of them and you lose some money. And it's just that it works very well for Fly, I bet. But we'll see if we stick with them. But it is pretty neat because it basically it'll run anything in a Docker container. And that's pretty cool. We're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about the CI/CD using GitHub Actions. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about, let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Let's talk a little bit about what else we're using to deploy. So I registered the domain and a few others in case you want to change the name of the group or just squat on a bunch of domains. I hosted with GoDaddy. I actually tried to use their DNS. It did not like Fly. Fly has some interesting ways for when you go to verify certs. It goes and uses Let's Encrypt to generate some TLS SSL certs. And but you need to go and add a challenge record to your DNS, something that's pretty common to verify ownership. And for whatever reason, with GoDaddy's DNS, it constantly failed 4 days. And I was just like, meh, pass. I use Cloudflare for a bunch of other stuff. So that's where I pushed everything to. This is, by the way, also in a separate account that other people can own. I am not the one gatekeeper, or at least I don't want to be the one gatekeeper for this. But it's pretty simple. Create an A record, that's your IPv4. Create a quadruple A, that is your IPv6. CNAME for www in case anybody types it. This is one of the gotchas you may run into with Fly is when you go in to add your challenge key for ownership validation. This actually needs to resolve back to Fly. It cannot be proxied through Cloudflare. So you just got to make sure that proxy is turned off so that it doesn't get redirected to one of Cloudflare's, edge servers or something like that. Tiny gotcha. It was not hard to figure out. GoDaddy was the worst. That's why I don't host anything with GoDaddy. My deepest apologies for those of you who do. The other thing is there is full end-to-end encryption. So you can see in the little diagram here, it's encrypted from the browser all the way to Cloudflare. It's encrypted between Cloudflare and Fly. Fly has its own certificates. This is what that looks like. I also noticed this big red warning sign. I got these intermittently as I was creating like wildcard certs and trying to troubleshoot GoDaddy basically and recreating and creating things and all that. Normally you'd see 2 green check marks. However, Grant blew through the rate limit of Let's Encrypt and got blocked. So it says it is a trusted root CA cert. Even with that one warning, it's just enough for Cloudflare to actually pass the traffic on fully encrypted. So in about 3 days or so, I will go back and regenerate and have nice, pretty green check boxes all the way across the board. But if you're ever wondering why your certs did not work correctly, you may have blown through Let's Encrypt's rate limiting. You could actually do it here from in the console, but Fly has a really nice command line utility, which means that you can automate a whole bunch of this stuff. We'll see a little bit of this when I look into GitHub, but you can actually see as I go through and I'm, you can go and Fly certs, create certificates or Fly cert show the details, list all the ones that we have. My guess is I only have the one still remaining that okay, cool. But it is pretty neat that you can automate a whole bunch of this stuff. So if you wanted to have a bunch of this on Terraform or, that kind of thing, you sure could. Check. Oh, yeah. I don't know, Brooks, is that that sounds like something. It might have even come in a bundle of plugins, because every once in a while you go and get a bundle of VS Code plugins, and that's where the complexity warnings were coming from. No idea. It's a good question. Okay, so let's go take a look at how this gets out to GitLab. So, by the way, if I don't know if any of this is really helpful to just this markdown file to hand out to people. To be honest, it's very much specific to remixaustin.com. It is something we can actually update on the just kind of architecture choices and things like that. We'll keep updated in the public repo once it becomes public. Where I'll let Brooks talk a little bit, maybe what about the appropriate time for making that public and ready to go is. But let's take a look at how it actually gets out there. So in general, there is a fly.toml. This is the deployment configuration. So in the last step in our GitHub action, this is where it's going to go and deploy to Fly using Docker. I'll show you the Docker file in a moment as well. In general, we have an app name, some other fun stuff. There's a start.sh for actually starting the app. You'll see I actually disabled this mounting of the data volume because we're not using SQLite, so that's not necessary. These is the internal 8080 port, like many Docker-based web apps would. You can go and specify some other things like concurrency. Here's the public service port, so 80, 443, and a couple other things. There is a health check here, so you can actually see there's a route for health check. There's not much to it. It literally goes and tries to load a URL, go and see if everything's in there, and then as long as it works, hit OK. Otherwise, it'll throw an error, and we'll probably set up some monitoring for that at some point. So that's mostly what's in fly.toml. If we go over to our Docker file, this should look pretty familiar for those who have used Docker. I realize not everybody has, but we start with node 16. We set an environment variable. We have a working directory. We're going to run npm install. And we're going to go and do some other clever stuff like running npm prune and whatnot. But as I go down here, you'll see we actually run npm run build. So this is the normal build command that you might see in Remix. Actually, normally, so this is basically going and simultaneously running both of the build CSS and build remix. So that's what this run S is doing. It's running both of these at the same time. Clever.
Yeah. Run S is sequential, and then run P would be in parallel.
Oh, P is parallel. Oh,
so
gotcha.
You can see on line 9, you have dev.
Yeah.
But
Thank
you need
you.
your CSS before you can actually build, because otherwise it'll throw.
That totally makes sense. Thank you. Some other things, what port we're running on, environment variable. And then we copy some files over and run our start sh. Cool, very Docker-ish if you're familiar with Docker. So kind of the last part of it is, here's the deployment file for GitHub Actions. And this was, so most of this actually came with the IndyStack tutorial, which means you don't necessarily need to know how to build one of these from scratch. I obviously deleted or commented out a bunch of stuff because we just don't need it yet. But in general, you can see that basically, here's kind of our trigger. So on push to the main branch, we're going to run this deploy. You can see that we have a list of jobs. If you have used like Ant, or they have build targets, or if you've used any of those other Jenkins, they've got different ways to describe the steps in your process. But in general, we actually go and we run lint, and you can see the other steps that are basically required in order to run that particular job. I turned off type check because I actually left a number of extra types and stuff from the template, knowing we might want to go back to that at some point. I just totally didn't delete it. So I'm not running type check right now, but we would uncomment this. Kind of the same thing with other testing. We're not using Vitest, not using Cypress. These are things we'll re-enable as we actually have a full site with real functionality that we care enough to test about. Today was not the day to try and have all of that done. But we do a build. So here's basically the steps that is required to do a build. It goes and finds our, our fly and our Docker stuff, and it does a bunch of, it's going to do a bunch of build steps. This was kind of interesting about how it has to actually move this cache over and throw it in a temp. Build cache? Yeah, build cache new. It's to get around some GitHub limit. I kind of assume that these, at some point at the end of your deploy or your action finishing, it deletes a lot of this stuff, but I have not gone in to read a little bit more about what that is, but thank you, Remix, for dropping that helpful fix in there. And then here's our deploy. It's going to go through here, and I do have a staging and a production site. We're not really using this right now. I'm doing it anyway just for fun. I'm probably getting charged twice, but I may go comment out staging if we're not going to care much about staging. But like you can imagine that, like, if we're making a bunch of big changes, content or refactors, or who knows what we're working on, we might actually go and maybe have as part of our normal build process, like, let's push out to staging so we can go see how it looks. If we were to use some of the platform as a service where you don't really have a step to be able to preview your content online, if you go to like Sanity or some of these other ones, you may not really be able to preview your content very well or very easily. So you might go and actually save to a branch and go and write this to deploy to staging only if you merge to a certain, maybe dev branch or something like that. Some cool stuff you can do. And then it actually goes through and runs. This is the fly control, fly CTL command deploy. And there's a bunch of stuff in there. But the nice thing is it does keep a nice history of everything. If I go fly over to the history, you can actually see, this is the fly control. This is the fly CTL command deploy. And there's a bunch of stuff in there. But the nice thing is it does keep a nice history of everything. If I go fly over to the history, you can actually see, if I go fly over to the Oh yeah, there's a release. And I think you can actually go through here and get a little bit more information about, you know, which git commit hash and whatnot caused this release. I think if you go to what all activity done here, it'll give you that kind of thing. That's most of it, to be honest. It looks pretty neat when you get over into GitHub and you can actually watch these actions go and run. You can see something actually successfully, you know, deployed. At some point, I think there's a way we can actually put a little badge, you know, on the front of our repo showing that, you know, some things are, you know, tests are passing and deploy is successful and those kind of things. But I guess the next thing is I'll give y'all a little bit of intro into kind of what we might see as how to contribute, because this is the point where Grant takes a nice step back and lets somebody else take over this. I've got a 2-year-old and he has literally been crawling all over me at times when I'm trying to debug stuff. And so I would be a terrible bottleneck for this project. And, you know, this is something we really want the community to be able to work on. We see that, like, if there's a bunch of people that are just interested in being contributors, like, we'll find a way to work with everybody. I could also imagine that people who like have just come out of college or boot camps, and maybe they don't have like a lot of resume portfolio items, things like that. Like if you're going to interview for a next job, maybe your first job, you could at least point to, hey, I have real code in production with this community, and you know, I'm a contributor over here, and that actually matters. I think I actually link to like our contributors stuff. Ooh, pretty image. I don't know where Brooks found this image. I couldn't find it again anywhere else on the web, so I stole it from Meetup. But yeah, so here's the how to contribute. Again, this is a little bit bare bones. In general, you know, we're kind of just now preparing ourselves to be able to support contributors, people who either want to write code, help us design, you know, screens, manage the project. Who knows, if we go the route of Twitter, we'll need some content moderators, and apparently plenty of those on the market these days. And there's a couple of things that'll just kind of help you. Here's how to, you know, go and clone this over to your own, you know, fork it over to your own GitHub account. And, we'll put some other instructions, maybe how to create a good pull request and, you know, that kind of thing. We'll also kind of go over at some point, like, is GitHub issues where we want to track all of this stuff? Maybe we'll get to it. And then we'll go through and help people learn how to test better and that kind of thing. Because we won't merge codes without test after this one, because there's no running tests right now. They're all disabled. That was a ton of talking. And so since nobody interrupted me really in the middle, I feel the need I should ask if there are any questions.
Yeah. How are your cold start times on fly.io? I use Netlify for tcschiller.com. And if it's a cold start, it takes a couple seconds to respond, and then it just loads in a jiffy.
The fact that I refreshed the page recently, I don't know. Let's see if we can.
That's why it has stats on that.
I think they might. If I go to metrics, HTTP response times. So
0 is fast.
I mean, I feel like when I was looking at this yesterday, yeah, some of this, I mean, you know, we're talking about an impossibly small website. By the way, the other thing, I've got Cloudflare in front of it. So this is cached even further. Will I leave this on? No idea. That's something we want to have as a discussion. I just use Cloudflare for most things I do. The free plan even gets me just about everywhere I want to go. But as far as I can tell, at least from like after launching a container on Fly, I mean, I think it's in sub-second. I have not seen it any faster than that. But also, there's no API calls, there's no database, there's no large images. Everything's super minified. So far, I have not hit anything that that concerns me.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Sure.
I want to challenge the use of Remix on this. Is the intent to eventually add data and like database stuff? Because if not, wouldn't you just use like a static rendering site? Or is this just like more of an experiment?
I would say it is a V0. That's basically it. It's just a V0.
Okay.
The intent was use the platform that we talk about in our meetup, and B, open it up for contributors for, to have a common project for people to work on. And C, at least in this very first kind of V0, is get something out there that other people can contribute to. A couple of decisions have been made up front that are undoable. And then we had to, as a community, get to kind of discuss like, well, where should our content live? Where should our auth live? That kind of thing. And because we have CI/CD, now anybody can actually contribute. We merge it in, it goes to prod. Like there's no wait on, Grant or Brooks or anyone else to be the gatekeeper to prod. Also, I would still almost want to use Remix because of its server-side rendering and all that. I think I would still use Remix over a Hugo or a Gatsby. Gatsby blows my brain out just a tiny bit when you have to GraphQL to get images out of your file system. It just, nope, I'm done. Never deployed anything to prod from Gatsby. What else can y'all think of?
Should the repo have any repositories on it yet, or any
It's
public
marked
ones?
as private
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
So we need to basically come over, and when I say we, I say it kind of starts with Brooks and I, but I think we're quickly already bringing it. Seth's already been in here helping us like create stuff for our project in GitHub, and we just need to basically get ourselves organized enough so that we can open this up and let people start contributing. I don't know, Brooks, when do you think the right time to flip that switch on?
Yeah, I was going to do it in like 10 minutes.
All right, well, there you go.
What is the goal of the website? Like, what are people contributing to build?
Ooh. Well, first we have to have ideas contributed. So there's a couple things that come to mind. Like, number one is, sometimes we just want to share a bunch of like what's going on in the Remix community. So like we could have a blog. Cool. It could be that we want to follow TC's cool thing where if you're standing at the door, you can pull up remixaustin.com and hit a button that says I'm here, and it texts via Twilio Brooks and says I'm here. It could be where, honestly, like it's kind of a hack the way we send the Zoom link out for Meetup. Like there's some like very niche little fun things we could do, but we could also go and have like a central destination for here's all the events that are going on in the world, since things are live streamed, so that like, hey, in 3 months or in 3 days, there's a conference I want to attend and I'm gonna go ask my employer to pay for it, or I'm gonna take some time off and do it myself, or whatever it is. It really could be a lot of stuff. I don't know. So Brooks is more involved with the actual Remix, organization. There may be something we want to do alongside them or help with that. I have really no idea. But it's hard. It was a little hard for me to think that we come here every month to talk about creating websites in Remix and we don't have a website. Spoiler alert, if you go to Twitter and you go to Remix Austin, that is some crazy account that just has no followers or activity or anything, but they're squatting on the Twitter handle. So just don't be fooled. I don't know. This is a good time if y'all have ideas actually for like what purposes should this serve?
Dance talks, a collection of
Sure.
dance talks.
Yeah.
It's a great one. Yep.
Because you guys record all these, right?
Yeah, it could also be a place where we actually take the the ideas for upcoming talks, and we have a reservation type of form, or we have a calendar of upcoming stuff. And I realize we don't necessarily want to recreate Meetup. Meetup does some of this stuff for us. But also Meetup has an API, and perhaps we could just have one single place for us to go and pull from. Actually, I'm assuming Meetup has an API.
Well,
I should have said Meetup has an API.
Meetup.com/API/general is not a 404, so it's something like that.
All right, good first step. Again, we don't. I mean, no need to recreate anything, rebuild anything, but centralizing stuff, upcoming events. Apply to be a speaker. The application process is just basically your name. That's pretty much it. Other questions, comments before I turn it back over to Brooks? All right. Thank you much.
Thanks, Grant. So thanks for turning a lightning talk into the full activities for today. I really do appreciate that.
Added me an hour today, but
Oh, man.
that got me out of real work. So
There you
it's
go.
nice.
That's the goal around here. Don't do real work, do fun work. That's the HUB motto. Yeah, so yeah, that was gonna be my little spoiler is see if I can actually figure out how to do this. How do you make this public? Does anybody know how to use GitHub? Oh, talent.
Change repository visibility down at the bottom.
Dangerous stuff.
Yeah, it's always in here. All right. Change to public. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to.
Also, y'all should never let me talk for 50 minutes again. Oh my God.
This code will be visible. Yes. Remix Austin /remixaustin.com. -com.
Of course.
I mean, I guess I appreciate that, but coding. Nobody steal this. I mean, it's good for like a minute, right?
We'd have to have your password too.
That is true. Well, nobody stole that either, please. Okay, cool. So now, if you're still on it, can you verify that you can see this?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep. Noise.
Yay. Awesome. Okay, cool. So yeah, there's not like a ton there, but like Grant said, Grant went through all the code that we have, which is awesome. The things I want to point out just real quick is I really want to let's just start on discussions. Like that's, I think, going to be the easiest way for us to start talking, because like all the questions that were asked were really good questions. Like, why are we even using Remix? That's a great discussion to start having, because what could be really cool is we could literally turn that into like a blog and just say like, this is the reason we're using Remix to build a site, even if the answer at the end of the day is because we wanted to over-engineer it to, learn things. Like that's a perfectly legitimate answer, and it's totally cool. But like, I love that idea of like the conversations we can have here are really great, and let's even like try and have those async offline too. So really, discussions is I think probably the best place to start. I've got this little welcome one that tries to, just give this intro of like where we're going, and I'll try to update this as we get a little bit better. We do have a few issues open. They're not like big things. Seth opened up one, which I really appreciated, where he's just like, hey, what if it looked good? No offense. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm all right with that.
So yeah, so there's been already some cool like back and forth. I think Seth is like working on some code he wants to push up. I think I did put a rule in basically to where now no one should be able to push to main directly. I hope. I'll check that later. I don't know. Does someone want to try and push to main?
We have to have a paid account in order to have.
I think it's only for private. Now that it's public, it might work. Let me go check, I guess. How do we do this?
Is
it?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for verifying that.
Good.
Cool. So yeah, yes, definitely for private, but then I knew once they're public.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll need an approval, but it's no big deal. Just like put up, if you legitimately have something you want to work on or whatever, put it up. Of course, it's not like a ton to contribute right now, because again, we're like very much in the idea space. But yeah, let's just talk about it. Let's talk about all the ideas. Let's talk about like, where do we want to deploy? What do we like want to actually build? Do we want like to have a blog? Do we want to make a CMS? It can be as crazy as we want it to be. It can be like as literally could just be a page that just tells people, you know, to go to the meetup. And that's okay if that's at the end of the day what we want to do. But that's kind of the idea, is like, yeah, to try and make this community a little bit more like maybe engaged outside of even the meetups. Of course, we're still always going to do talks. Like, we don't want this meetup to turn into like, let's build a website. Like, that's not the only thing, of course, but every once in a while we may sprinkle this in here. And especially like you were saying, like, we do have junior devs come in here, people who are just come out of a boot camp, maybe, and never have done anything open source or interact with, you know, GitHub beyond like inside their boot camp in a very controlled environment. So it could be cool to give opportunities for that and stuff.
One other thing is, like, if we're looking for contributions, like, again, it's not just code, could be design, it could be helping in other ways, but like, it could be writing a blog. If you're a little shy to get up and talk in front of a group of people or live code or do something like that, maybe you prefer to contribute by writing a blog post. Yeah. Again, you're still sharing. You could also be sharing, hey, I've got this side project going. And here's how I came to some decisions and learned some things, and that kind of thing. So hopefully even contributing content to the website is a way that community can invite contributors.
For sure. Cool. And the only other thing I've goofed around a little bit with is the project board. I actually used to use GitHub project boards at a previous company, and I always liked them, but like, I don't know if we want to go with something like Jira. So we can have a discussion about that too, like how we want to do project management. I don't want to make it crazy because I'm not a PM, but I do want a little bit of just like, so that people can see like, oh, cool, here's a ticket I can come up with. Like, a really easy one right now is like tests. Like, hey, if someone's like really like into testing, come up with our testing paradigm and framework. Do we want to use V-test? It's cool and new. Do we want to use Jest because it works and we know how it works? I don't care. Just like, yeah, if you're interested and excited, want to hack, especially over the holidays coming up, I don't know. I mean, if you want to get off your computer for the holidays, also that's great. But if if that's the time when you do your side projects like me, then that's also super cool. So that's it. I think that's all we got tonight. So we'll end a little bit early. But of course, as always, feel free to hang out, eat more pizza if there is any. I don't know. It's cold by now, which maybe enhances the flavor. Debatable. Science is still out on that one. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. And thanks again, Grant.